Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look now at some stocks on the move today in Europe. I'm Stephen Carroll and we're joined by Bloomberg's equities reporter, Joe Easton. Joe, good morning. We have been watching drinks companies' shares in Europe this morning. This as China has issued a ruling in its anti-dumping probe into EU brandy imports. Tell us more.
Big news coming for the drink space, something that we've been watching for a long time. So as you mentioned there, China giving this update, they're going to slap these levies on the drinks, specifically brandy. Now, potentially they're going to be putting a duty ranging from 27% to 35%. Now, we actually saw a big drop down in companies like Remy, Cointreau, Pernod, Ricard, Diageo, LVMH even. However, they have since recovered because analysts are actually kind of saying, traders saying that this looks a little bit better than feared. So some drinks makers may actually be able to avoid these tariffs if they fulfill price pledges, so if they agree to the price levels that China wants them to. And also there were previous reports that the levies could be as high as 39% rather than the 35% that's been announced a few moments ago. So they are rebounding. Remy actually higher now after dropping 7%. So that one is up around almost 1% at the moment, and the other stocks rebounding. But really volatile and interesting session for the drink stocks.
Yeah, certainly. We've been watching them with interest, and I've also been playing that game of who owns which brand, which I can never remember in this situation. So Martell, I was not sure about, so I had to Google that one. And of course, at least the H in LVMH is Hennessy, so at least that's an easy one to remember as well.
Is the M Moet? I think
the M is Moet, yeah.
The M is Moet, yes. Yeah, more champagne.
This is a fun game. We should play it more often.
It is fun, yeah.
Talk us through what else is moving. We're looking at Tradeexposed miners and automakers among the decliners.
Yes, so we are seeing some weakness in the automakers, also the miners, as you mentioned, that a lot of that is due to the kind of tariff uncertainty that we're seeing, particularly the stuff coming out of China. What are they going to do next on that? But one stock I am seeing to the upside is Rheinmetall. Now, the company held a pre-close call with analysts last night. So this is essentially where they get analysts together, give them a briefing ahead of a blackout period before their results. Now, the defence firm, whose stock has soared over 200% over the past year, actually predicting that it's going to see a big jump of orders. And JP Morgan saying they think Rheinmetall could get 70 billion euros worth of defence orders over the next year alone. They therefore think the stock should rise another 30%. So Rheinmetall boosted again, only up about 1% today, but given already, as I say, up more than 200% over the past year, even almost 200% this year to date. It's impressive stuff for that sector.
Okay, dealer's choice, Joe. What else are you watching this morning?
I've got the pick of the bunch, haven't I, today? So I actually think the financials are interesting because there's a couple of different analyst notes out. We've got DWS over in Germany, which is the asset manager spun out of Deutsche Bank a few years ago. That one is downgraded by BNP Paribas, which says they've seen an outflow, so a lot of flows coming out of the firm. They do hold a lot of listed securities, so stocks, bonds as well. So that is a negative part. But CVC Capital upgraded at JP Morgan. That one was slightly higher earlier today. This is because private equity actually doing a lot of exits, so selling out of businesses and making decent profits at the moment. So I find it interesting that the kind of traditional asset management businesses not doing so well, but private equity strong. CVC a little bit positive, DWS falling today.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.